I'm Dorothy. I'm a credentialing specialist here with CRNA Locum Jobs.
So I'm Kendall. I am a CRNA and recently created a platform called VitalPro Docs. And VitalPro Docs helps medical professionals securely store, track, and share all of your credentialing documents. Um, yeah, so we just launched last month and we're super excited to be getting it out to the medical community.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I had a look at it. I was able to log in just to run through the program, and it seems extremely user friendly, super helpful.
Thank you.
So, what exactly inspired you to create that management system?
I started out of school doing 1099 and I did some locums and some PRN jobs. And actually, at my most recent job that I was credentialing at, there was so much back and forth. They, asked for my initial set of documents. I sent that over, and then it just kind of kept going back and forth. We need these documents. We need these documents. I need it by the end of the day. And we're in the operating room. Sometimes our schedules are a little bit unpredictable, and I keep all my documents on my computer. I know some people are more savvy and have it on their phone. So it just resulted in me checking my inbox to see like, hey, did I send this? Which, a lot of times I did, and then it just got lost in their inbox. And I was sitting at home one night, it was a Saturday night, and I was working on credentialing, and I was like, there has to be something better for us as medical professionals. I feel like it's something that so many of us dread. And there's so many of us that are going and doing PRN jobs or 1099. And it's how can we simplify that process for the provider? Um, and I actually ended up not even going through with the credentialing because it was just such a hassle. So I went on this venture of trying to create something for myself to simplify this. I'm a pretty type A organized person, like a lot of us are as CRNAs, and I still dread credentialing. So it kind of morphed into Vital Products, which has been such a labor of love, but so much fun. And honestly, it's become a huge passion of mine just to how can we help simplify this process for us as providers and managing all these documents that come with our profession.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen the lists of documents they can send out. It can get pretty extensive, and there's 10 contacts at the site that might end up needing that, and you're
Exactly.
resending and resending.
Yeah.
Um, so what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced when trying to create the program, deciding what features to include, how to go about that?
So for us, I'm a CRNA, obviously. So for me, it was really important to be something that is provider driven. But with that, we also wanted to create something that's so much simpler for recipients and credentialers, whether that's at a hospital agency, um, for people like you, just to simplify receiving all those documents from us. So kind of both were super important to us, again, with the provider focus, obviously, but for ease for credentialers. And then I wanted something that was really applicable to any medical specialty, whether you're a scrub tech, CRNA, RN, NP, all the way up to an MD. We all have so many documents that we have to keep track of. Um, and so how can we create something that any medical provider can use? And then with that, I wanted it to attract, anybody from just coming out of school all the way up to you've been in practice for 25 years. And with that comes different levels of technology and comfort for people. So for me, I'm not a tech savvy person in the slightest, as you can see. And so I just wanted something that was super clean, super easy to use, very intuitive. I feel like the way it's designed, probably a middle schooler could figure out how to use it. Um, and so I think just kind of integrating all of those kind of core features that I wanted to be a part of this helped shape what we have now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what are some of those features? It's user friendly. You can upload that. It is easy to share with folks. I went in and tried. I shared it with myself. Easy on both ends.
Yeah.
Um, so what are some of those features, some of those big factors that people love it about Vital Pro?
Yeah. So for the sharing feature, that is probably my number one favorite feature. So once the providers upload all their documents, which can be the most, time consuming and tedious part, I do want to include that we have data extraction. So our program will extract any pertinent data and the provider can just double check it just so that they're not manually inputting when things expire, what their certificate is, things like that. And then once all of those documents are uploaded into VitalPro Docs, we have the sharing feature where you can create as many, I guess you could call it folders to share with people. And you can include as many as all of your documents or as few as you'd like. And then you can share those documents with whoever you want. So say that somebody was credentialing at 5 different facilities. Initially, you could put all 5 of the credentialing contacts on that same folder to share, and they don't see, multiple people are receiving the same link. And then the same thing goes with whenever you get research and you have to send those out, you can do that in the same sort of a manner. And so, really, to create a share folder, it's just a couple of clicks instead of digging through your inboxes, your files, or wherever you keep all of your documents. It's just in one place and you can just quickly select what you want and send it off. I think another really cool feature within that sharing functionality is you can deactivate your link at any time. So if I sent a link to you, and then for some reason something came up and I didn't want you to have access to that link and all of those documents, I could just revoke access, and it just shuts off immediately. Which I think is a lot safer too, right? A lot of us send all of these documents that are super sensitive over Gmail. I know I've sent voided checks. I'm even guilty of sending my social security number over email. And that's just something that we really want to shift away from providers doing, is sending all of these sensitive documents through email.
Right.
Um, Another piece, and just let me know if you have any questions. I could go on and on for this all day, but another piece is we have an expiration tab. So it gives you a summary of all of your documents that are going to be expiring, and you're able to see that in whatever, time period increments that you want, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, a year. And that's really just to give providers an overview and a snap of what their upcoming renewals look like. A lot of credentialers are great about notifying us when things are going to expire, hospitals or different boards. But we really wanted to create something where it was all inclusive and the provider can see that all for themselves and they can select whether they want to get texts or email notifications of when things are going to be expiring, and that they can just have, that all in one place. That was
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot, but the share feature is my favorite.
No, that's exciting. And the expiration date is exciting as well. We use a program kind of similar, but um, if you're credentialing 50 people and there's a hospital, more people, there's just a lot to keep track of for one person on either end.
Exactly.
So getting those notifications,
And
I
I
imagine,
think too,
is super
just
helpful.
giving that back to the provider, just to feel like I keep right now, before I had Vital Products, I would keep a Word document and I just periodically go check when things were going to expire. But I think just kind of empowering the provider to again be in control and be comfortable and confident with everything when things are going to expire so that you don't miss an expiration and then you have to go through that entire loop of more money and paperwork and not being able to work.
Right. And we have even your privilege letters, the expiration dates on that. Is that something it tracks as well?
Yeah, you can add that in as an additional document in our tab, and you can put in when that expires, and that's something that you can get notified when that expires too.
That's super convenient. That's super
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah.
So you mentioned the shareability feature.
Hmm.
When that link is sent over, say it's shared with me as a credentialer, what are the security measures kept in place to keep those documents safe?
Yeah, so we security for us was, the number one really thing. Like I said, I know myself, and then from um, different surveys that we took, that a lot of providers are sending all these documents via email, which is again something that we're trying to kind of shift away from doing, especially with the current climate of everything. So for us, security was number one. We have the highest level of bank and military level encryption that is commercially available. All of your documents are encrypted both at rest when they're in the platform and then when they are being sent to whoever you're sending them to. Something else that was super important to us is, all of your data as a provider is yours. You are in control of your data 100% of the time. You are in control of who sees your data, when you send your data, whether or not you need to revoke access to your data. Because I think that that's just something that's super important. Also, you may have noticed with the share folder, the recipient, whenever they open and view a document or download a document, the provider then gets notified that somebody has viewed, 15 documents and downloaded 15, so that you can also keep track of that for yourself as well. Because I think that, it's just these are sensitive documents that there needs to be a better way to send them and keep track of them from the entire process. And so that's really something with security that we're really proud of with VitalPro Docs.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I, for somebody like myself and those facilities directly, are you considering partnerships with facilities, with hospitals and professional organizations so that they could utilize this program for several providers rather than just individually one at a time sharing documents, sort of like a master list, a delegate access situation?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we're looking at. Like I said, we just launched last month. So right now we're always going to be provider focused, right? I think that that's also something it's super important to me because there's a lot of things right now that are out there to help agencies, hospitals, facilities. And I think one piece of this whole kind of chain that is really lacking is something for the providers. So we will always be 100%, for provider focus, but we are absolutely open to different plans with hospitals or agencies, and then also maybe down the line looking at pivoting just to see how we can help that entire uh, kind of circle of the credentialing process. Um, and I think too, for that, if there's anybody who's in credentialing who's listening, I think, and Dorothy, you can probably speak to this too, whenever you receive a file and you can download a zip file for that provider of everything that they sent you. So you can download their entire zip file of documents, you can download specific documents, and you can even copy and paste from the specific tiles that get sent over. Just to help if you're filling out applications or if you have to keep zip files with, all of our information as providers in there. So, yeah, we absolutely are looking at that, and it's something that's on our radar for down the line.
Yeah, and it definitely is. Obviously, the provider portion is the first step. So if our CRNA is able to have everything in line, everything organized, that makes the jobs for credentialing professionals much easier. Um,
Exactly. And I don't know if you've experienced this too, but just having to like chase down different providers to say, hey, I need, your references, or I need X, Y, and Z documents. I think that if we can have a platform, which, is Vital Products again, that has a spot for all of these documents. So when you go to credential for the first time, you can just send all of that over. And then for on your end, you don't have to track all of us down,
right.
especially while we're in the middle of cases. And I'm sure not everybody responds. And so, yeah,
Yeah, and you definitely do have better things you could be doing on Saturday night than
yeah,
gathering your credentialing documents because
right.
you couldn't do it during normal business hours.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so that's helpful. Is there sort of, I know all those documents are where you can upload, they're not technically required because not everybody will have everything. But
Right.
is there a way to make lists just to make sure that every document you need is uploaded since it's not technically a requirement?
Yeah, so that's actually something that we are looking at to integrating, is kind of like a status or a check bar, if you will, that says, this category or this document has been uploaded. Um, so for right now, whenever you initially start your sign up process, you can see a list of all of the different categories that we have, and then check whatever is applicable to you, and then that'll pull over onto your actual profile. There's always a time later on where you can add the other folders or get rid of folders in the event that you are an RN and you don't need certain documents, and then you become a CRNA. But that absolutely is something that we are looking to integrate, just so when you're looking down the side, if you say that you need all the folders, that you can see a check mark or a status bar, that everything is there. Because I do think that that would be super helpful. Um, and we went back and forth on whether or not we should make things required, and we ultimately settled at not, just because I think everybody's going to be very different in how they utilize the platform too. Um, so we wanted to shift away from actual requirements, but I think down the line it'll be really helpful where people can see what still needs to be uploaded.
Yeah. So you mentioned that feature. Are there any other features or adjustments that you're hoping to make in the future to make it even a better platform?
Yeah, so we are hoping to have an app by the end of this year, if not the beginning of next year, just to help kind of supplement the platform that we have. The platform is it's a web-based platform that's also mobile optimized. So, and really the thought behind that was a lot of providers tend to keep these documents on their computers. Some do keep them on their phones. So, um, will always be a web application at heart that again is mobile optimized, but an app I think will be really useful for providers, especially, that's something that we always have our phones with us, so that we can very easily, send documents. We want to incorporate a scanning feature within that, just for people who have like a paper document that they can take a picture of and upload that. So that's definitely one that's going to be coming. We have a lot more that's in the works, and I think something that's really important to throw out is, I've said it several times, but we're always going to be provider focused. And my website is on, or my email, excuse me, is on our website. And we encourage users to reach out, let us know features that they like, things that they don't like, and then anything that they want to see in the future, because I want us collectively as a whole, as providers, to continue driving, this platform and this product. I'm just one person. We've surveyed several hundreds of people and know, what people wanted to see for, version one, but we really want the providers to continue the evolution of this platform.
Yeah, I think that's great to put that with the providers, tell you what they want, and try and make that accessible. I think there's a lot of great features. Like I said, I was
Thank
in
you.
program for a while, and it is super helpful. It's hard to believe that it's only been out for a month. I didn't notice any bugs or glitches.
Thank
Um,
you.
so excited to see what features you're able to add to that program. And
Yeah.
just outside of specific features and keeping things provider oriented, what do you hope just for the overall future of your company?
We'd really like to shift obviously away from providers sending these documents via email. We want to change. I think credentialing, you may agree, is a very outdated system of how we're doing things. It's very tedious, it's very time consuming, for everybody involved, from provider to, you know, credentialing specialists. And we really want to shift the landscape of how things have always been done and move it in a more positive, especially safe direction for providers with how we are sending all these documents. We'd love to get to a place where, providers are using VitalPro Docs to manage all these professional documents and send them to whoever they're working with. And I think the beautiful thing too is that you may be able to speak to as well, that a lot of hospitals or agencies, they have platforms for themselves, whether that's something that you have to upload documents or you just ask for them via email, and you guys have a way of housing everything on the back end. I really want something that's able to follow the providers for the rest of their career. And VitalPro Docs, we really created it in mind to be able to morph to however the credentialer wants to receive these documents. Um, and so really, uploading it is the worst part. And we try to do a lot of the heavy work for providers. Um, but it's something that'll stay with them, forever. And we're really excited to see what's to come. And hopefully, we're able to change kind of the way that credentialing has always been done and change it for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were speaking of uploading documents. Is there any way that, as a credentialer, that we can help with that, that we can assist? We get those documents from the platform, but if we receive anything from the site, like those approval letters or documentation, other than just emailing that back to the provider, is there a way we can upload those just to
So
make things
right
easier?
now, it's just so only the provider can upload them right now. I think so. You're saying like a back and forth,
Sure.
could you upload things for the provider? I think is kind of where you're going with
Right.
that. So right now, we only have the ability for the provider to upload. And it's something that we've actually thought quite a bit about. And it's how do we balance keeping all of those documents that the provider has safe for the provider and them in control, while simultaneously allowing the recipient to upload things. So it's definitely something that we have looked at currently. That is not a feature, where that would just get emailed on your end back to the recipient. But it's definitely something, or the sender, I'm sorry. That's definitely something that we're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. I look forward to seeing what you're able to come up with. Again,
Yeah,
great program.
thank
Is
you.
there anything else you'd like to say, share with the viewers while we're still on here?
I don't think so. Is there anything that you saw that any feedback that you have? Does this seem like from your end that it would make your life easier um, on the credentialing side of things?
Yeah, I mean, it's already huge just to be able to see everything in one place,
Yeah,
um, rather than up to 50 emails trying to get those
right,
documents. So
exactly.
everything just being together, already labeled. I appreciate everything being in PDF format for the most
Yeah.
part. That's helpful. Um,
Yeah,
I can't think of anything. I heard you had a promo code to share.
we do.
Um,
Yeah.
get some more
So
people to try this out.
exactly. So we are offering your first year free, and the promo code is CRNA free in all caps, which you can enter at checkout. And yeah, it's a first year free. You can, if you don't like it, it's not for you. That's fine. But would highly encourage anybody, especially anybody who's managing all these documents and credentialing, to check it out, and would love to hear your feedback.
Yeah, alrighty. I look forward to receiving those shared links from some of our providers.
Thank you so much for having me and
Thank you.
for letting me chat about this on your guys' platform.
Absolutely.